So, dirty down rust instructions. Yeah, done that bit. Once dry, do not get wet. Challenge accepted. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at that dirty down rust effect paint, but we're going to be exploring about what happens when things go wrong, what you can do about it, and also later on, we're going to be looking at some techniques and some ways you can protect your work and stop it going wrong in the first place. So are you ready? Let's go. Now you may recognize these from a previous video where we put some dirty down rust over a dark brown base. Now it may be that the technique that you've used to put on the dirty down rust has given you an effect that doesn't look quite right, or the scale's not quite right, or it might be that you've used a little bit too much water and you've got this kind of yellowing effect, or life has happened and you've got rained on or whatever. Either way, it's not the result you're really looking for. Now on the instructions for the dirty down rust, it says to keep it dry and keep it away from water. But what happens if you do get it wet? Well, if the paint is not fully dry, you get that whitey yellow kind of bloom going on. However, the paint on these pieces is completely dry. It's been dry for a good week or so. So let's get some clean water and a filbert brush and dab it on and see what happens. So as you dab it on, you can see that it starts to lift that dirty down rust really quickly. Now this is just a paintbrush. It's not as abrasive as a toothbrush, for example, but it's already lifting that dirty down rust straight off. But it's also causing a bit of foaming, which is getting stuck in the recesses. Now one thing to be cautious about is that water is lifting that dirty down rust paint straight off the model. But just be careful where that water runoff is going, because it still contains enough strong pigment to stain something, whether that be some paintwork that you don't want it to go on or your carpet. Now having given that a good wash and a gentle scrub with that brush, you can see on this one you've got that yellow bloom that's appeared, especially where you're getting the accumulations of that foamy stuff. So let's try repeating that process, clean water on the brush and giving it a gentle scrub and trying to get as much of that foam off as we can. So after repeating that process a couple of times, you got the vast majority of that paint off. There's still a little bit of a bloom in places, but nothing too crazy. So what we can do now is just reapply that dirty down rust. Exactly the same principle as I've done in previous videos, so I'm not going to go into the detail of that here, but if you haven't seen that yet, go and check that one out and it'll make much more sense. Okay, so I've now given that time to dry and you can see we've got that rust effect back again. Interestingly, there may have been a little bit of moisture still on the surface of the model because the rust colours are still quite bright, a lot brighter than we have had previously. So that little bit of moisture is something to be aware of. However, what I can do now is to redefine those shapes, is to do some really basic shading just with a very fine sort of black wash, just to redefine the shapes a little bit and make it look more like a bunch of scrap bolted together rather than just one big rusty lump of metal. So what this shows is that if you're not happy with the result that you get from the first time you applied it, or it gets spoiled for whatever reason, you can remove it and then reapply. But one thing I want to try out next is, can we stop this from happening in the first place? So if we apply a varnish over the top, will it completely destroy it? Will it wash it off? Or will it preserve it? Let's have a play. Now because this stuff is so reactive when it comes to water-based products, I wanted to try coating it in enamel varnish. Now I tried ordering some from online, unfortunately that's not going to arrive for a week or so. But I do have some acrylic varnish, and that'll be interesting because that is a water-based varnish. So let's give it a go and see what happens. Now with any of these aerosol-based varnishes, it's always sensible to do it outside. And I'm going to give this a couple of very light coats, allowing it to dry in between each coat. Now what is interesting with this is that whilst it's now kind of protected it, and also it hasn't completely washed it off, but you've lost that rust patina. So once you applied it and you've got that rust effect that you're happy with, the only way you're going to keep it is by keeping it dry. So dirty down rust is an awesome product and you can get some amazing effects with it. It does require a little bit of TLC though. Now if you want to explore more about how you can get the most out of this stuff, then click or tap the screen and watch this video right here. But if you want to continue exploring the world of miniature modelling and all the awesomeness that is out there, then click or tap on this video right here. And I'll see you on the next project.